But the point is that it's not a subset of marketing. It actually enjoys people seeing the table.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
Right, and your
Absolutely.
point
So I
is
think that's
right
the-
on. Your
that's the
point is
different
right
piece of it.
on, which is as
absolutely.
long as service is a silo within a company and not integrated in any way into the main operations and focus. Yeah.
Well, in fact, one of the things we've done too, in fact, Lisa Campbell in the back of the room on my team, wait, please. I know, she's scared. Lisa's scared.
She's handing out business cards.
I didn't do it, I swear. She's many hats that she wears, but gosh, maybe 3-4 years ago, we developed an internal partnerships department, and so with the specific objective of developing blended business community interests with every single pyramid in the organization. We did a prioritization against our strategic objectives, but again, the point is we already have the buy-in from the entire company, but how do we ensure that it's more intentional, more strategic, and that our objectives are truly aligned so that, again, you're at the table at the same time. Great example, 10 years ago when we launched our credit card, the Red Card, sat down at the table with our financial services team and said, let's launch it with a philanthropic layer. That launch led to Take Charge of Education, where our guests can donate 1% of their credit card purchases to a K-12 school of their choice. 10 years in, $230 million have gone to the nation's K-12 schools. So it's the little pilot and test that, truly drove change, even in terms of our overall education focus. Our guest surveys align and validate the movement in our the work with regard to education, and that's become one of our signature programs, one that we're most recognized for, one that aligns with business interests and fulfills a community need. But financial service was at the table, marketing was at the table, community relations was at the table, our stores organization was at the table because we need those leaders in local markets to help drive the program as well. So very, very integrated.
So Wendy Spencer is going to ask the next question. Wendy serves on the President's Council on Service and Civic Participation through her role, which is appointed by Governor Christ in Florida to run all of the service efforts in Florida. So Wendy, your question.
Thank you, Jean. Back to John's comment about expanding our choir, our family. I've been thinking about this for 2 days. We are the choir. We're singing it. You are acting it. We're trying to help in leading the service world. But we really need to mobilize and energize and expand our family. And one secret might be in our governors. If we had our corporate leaders asking our governors to really step up and reach out to the national and state companies, corporations, and higher education in our states to do this. So we'll help Governor Christ, Governor Schwarzenegger. We have several governors here and engaged, but we certainly need the National Governors Association on this train with us, because this a perfect time to address the needs in our country is now, and this partnership is wonderful. So I'll ask for your help for that.
All right, great. I see Michelle Nunnis in the back, and John Rice is on our panel. I don't think I mentioned that he heads up the Corporate Services Council for Points of Light Hands-On, which is a collaborative of a lot of companies coming together. Michelle, do you want to comment on those efforts at all and just share them with the audience a little bit for awareness purposes?
Put me in a moment of thinking I was done for the day.
I know.
Having a McCain moment, falling asleep as he pretended to do last night. Not that it's not riveting, just that it's. But
Nice save,
I will say that we are thrilled that John has joined us to lead the Corporate Service Council. It was started with Bob Nardelli of Home Depot, and then Mike Eske with UPS. We have 60 corporations that are joining together in a commitment around really creating a collective action agenda for corporate America to really re-energize and reimagine the possibilities for corporate engagement, and certainly are excited to be in support of the pro bono movement and the $1 billion in change, and also creating more research and case studies around the ROI. How can we measure the fact that businesses really do benefit from their engagement, and then how do we create sustainable impact in specific and concrete areas through the concerted efforts of corporations. So I think we have hopefully an opportunity to help support the larger field and really become a platform that works in partnership with others to make a difference in this corporate arena.
Thanks, Michelle, because you've been a great leader on the corporate front for service. Why don't we take one more question back here, and then I think we'll go to closing comments from our panel. Back here.
Hi, I wanted to know about if you guys could address the problem of businesses whose practices aren't consistent with their service In other words, a business that gives to a charity for children but uses child labor, right, to make the product. I want to just know how you guys avoid doing that and how you can suggest to other business leaders how they can avoid being kind of morally and ethically inconsistent in their business. And
Sure. Can
their
you tell us who you are?
service. I'm Katie Halper.
Thank you.
Sorry.
I think that's leadership, right? So it's you have to live your values, and that definitely starts at the top. And one of the things I think, Target recently was named one of the most ethical companies, and that's something that we've enjoyed for many, many years. But it's because we have standards and values, and we all talk about those values, and those are clearly articulated, and you hire against those values, and you make sure that your words and actions align. And when they don't, you hold yourself accountable and ensure that you're making those course corrections in a way that are very honest and authentic, because we're all human. And so when you are human, there are certainly mistakes, but they should be an exception to the rule, not the rule. And then when something does happen, people give you the benefit of the doubt and help you, I think, kind of change what might be inappropriate behavior. But having clear standards matter. Ensuring that those are clearly articulated. We have ethics training and courses around it, and it's a best team survey where we ask people, if something unethical happens, do you know how to report it? Both confidential ways that people can do it, as well as what we hope are very open discussions around things where people may have questions that are inappropriate and don't align with our values. So it's something, again, that you have to articulate, live, and breathe, and make people pay the consequences when they're not doing what they're supposed to do.
Any other comments on that?
Pretty good answer.
I guess
Kenneth?
you can only do what you can do, and you put forth your best efforts, and you only know what you know, and you put in place mechanisms to monitor that which you can. And there's a lot of third-party transactions and overseas and subcontracting and subcontracting, but you do what you can and you hope for the best, because at the end of the day, I'm not sure you can really cover all bases.
And I think we're judged by what we do after we know there's an exception.
Yeah.
You can do everything you can to try to prevent it,
Right.
but if in fact you do then become later aware, I think leadership is really judged by what they do after they became aware.
I think that's right. So at this point, I'm just going to give the panelists an opportunity to share any closing thoughts they have, and then we'll adjourn. Laisha, why don't you kick us off?
Okay.
And if you don't have any, you can just say, I don't have any.
Closing thought would be to go out and be evangelists, right? So it's back to my comment around awareness. We're preaching to the choir here, and so often you come to these conferences and we see a lot of the same people and hear from a lot of the same voices. And it's important, I think, to have more people under the tent. And so, to the extent that we can build greater awareness of the value proposition in service, overall corporate responsibility, I think that we've done a great service to the sector. And it's important to talk about the role that business plays. I think so often businesses get a bad rap. And I was sharing with someone, I was one of those people when I started working for our company 16 years ago out of college. I was thinking I'd go to the Peace Corps and got a part-time job and never left, because I thought, the man doesn't give to the community. And, now I'm, the woman, but it's...
Yeah!
There is this skepticism around, can companies do good? And, at the end of the day, when you look at surveys, people now are beginning to trust companies more. And so there is a momentum there. And I think there's something to be said about the leadership that can be provided, the expertise that exists in the corporate context, and the ability to drive change in a very meaningful and sustainable way, and often more quickly, given the resources that are disposable in a way that is innovative and risk-taking. So there's something to leverage, and building our trust and the capital around that trust, and then leveraging all the potential that's harnessed within our organizations, I think is tremendous. And so we have a sell job yet to do, it seems to me, and that we have to all figure out how to get the word out and then to execute against that word so that we can just do more and do more quicker.